Now we're going to take a look at mixing the volume of audio using Audacity. To illustrate my point, I'm going to import an MP3 file. So we go to the Project menu and Import Audio, the first item on the list. You can also click Control-I. So I'm going to import a song by Rush, a band from Saskatchewan. It's just a little clip of the song. It's not the entire song. If you want to import an entire song, it may take a minute or two to bring it into Audacity. So I'm just making my track window a little bigger here so you can see what I'm doing. What we saw before in terms of controlling the volume was the gain slider over here on the left hand side. If you put the gain slider to the right, it makes the entire track volume louder. To the left, the entire track volume gets quieter. And so that's useful if you want to make an entire track quieter or louder relative to other tracks. But let's say you wanted to adjust the volume in different parts of one track. What we would do is use the envelope tool, which you can find up in the top left corner here in the tools palette. And so let's just click on that. And you notice right away two blue lines at the top and down at the bottom appear. So you click on those and hold that down. You'll notice you can make the volume louder or quieter, and it'll give you a visual representation of that. And what it is up at the top here, you can see on the left hand side a scale of 0 to 1, and what that means is down at 0 we have no volume. At 0.5 it's 50% or half, and 1 is 100%. You also notice when you click, a set of dots, 4 dots appear wherever you click. So say if I click way down on the end here, it's going to give me another set of dots. And what these are called are envelope points. So in order to manipulate these properly, you have to click on the dots. You don't have to be super accurate, but you have to click basically in or around where the dot is. And so if you have 2 sets of dots like I have here, making one set of dots smaller, it will ramp, what we call ramping the envelope relative to your next set of dots. So what I've done here is created a little fade in. So if we take a listen to what my Rush song sounds like initially, you can get an idea of how loud that song is. And if I bring the volume way down and my second set of dots, I can move it over horizontally. You can move it back and forth anywhere you want. If I bring it closer, we can make a nice little fade in. You can also do what they call a fade out. So if I have my first set of dots at the highest volume and my second set of dots down lower, we can do a fade out. And you can have as many dots as you want. It's useful if you say if you record something with varying volume levels. You can make the volume go in and out. If, say, you have quieter parts or louder parts, you can do this as many times as you want. So let's hear what that sounds like. Okay, so that gives you a good idea how that works. Remember, you can undo any of these actions using the undo button. And the undo button in the edit menu always tells you what your last action was, in case maybe you did another action that you thought you hadn't done. You don't want to undo something you didn't want to do. You can also click Control-Z, just like in a word processor, and it'll undo everything through every step we took right back to the beginning. Another useful thing is to fade one track into another. So I'm just going to duplicate the track. Duplicating the track, again, you can click on your track just like this, go to Edit, and we go down to Duplicate, or Control-D. So now I have 2 versions of my audio file, and say, for example, I wanted to do a fade in of the beginning of the song into a part towards the middle. So I could just do something like this, then use my selection tool, bring my second track, say somewhere down here, and let's do a point at the same relative spot to my first track. I made another set of points here, and again I'm going to make that smaller, and my second set of points on my second track here relative to the first, and I make that bigger. So now I can fade in and make this almost 0. I can fade in from a different point in the song some audio. So that's just something we can do using songs. Let's say we were recording, if we were recording our voice. So now I'm just recording a bit of my voice here, and I'm going to click record again and record a different part of my voice. And what we can do with this is do the same kind of thing. Let's move my second voice over, so it's right about here. And you can see I started recording sort of halfway into one of my words here. You can see it kind of cuts it off there. So this would be an example of how we would want to fade something in where I'm cut off from what I'm saying. Now you notice, compared to my Rush song that I had before, the volume isn't as pronounced when I'm recording my voice. And that's because professional recordings come in at much louder volume on an MP3 file. One thing you can do so you can get a better picture of the volume is in the track menu, click on Waveform dB. And you'll see that gives me a much better visual representation of the volume of my voice. We'll do the same thing on our second track here. So let's just see what that sounds like. We were recording our voice. Now I'm just recording a bit of my voice here and record a different part of my voice. So you can notice that it kind of like cuts off in my second track. So what I'll do is I'll just fade, create one set of points over here, and fade in on the second track. And on the first track, we'll do a fade out just like we did before on the Rush song. If we were recording our voice. So now I'm just recording a bit of my voice here and record a different part of my voice. So that's a good way to sort of make seamless transitions between speech recording. And that's the end of the basics on audio mixing.